Yo, Lush Louisville, what's going on, everybody? Good to be here. We made it another week. Well, another couple of days, actually.
Yes, Sarsky.
I'm gonna be out of town this week. I had to push it up a day, or 2 days, actually. So, yeah, hope everybody's doing well. Hope y'all had a good week. Trying to get this live chat here. Every time you do this, you gotta make all these, copy the addresses. Yeah, so it'll show up. What's everybody been up to this week? Everybody jump in the chat. There we go. There it is. Man, seems like Corona's getting worse. Not much is getting better, apparently. Hope everybody's staying safe. Hope you're wearing masks. My mom be having me wearing my mask, and I'm in the basement, but she doesn't know right now, so it's not a big deal. Don't tell her. So what else is going on? We got a very special guest today. First off, got my man T Lanky here. Got some beats for us. His first beat's called iMac. Jump right into it. Let me hear some of these sounds. Trevor Langford, he went to Manual, and he actually produced DJ Kelly's latest single, Ain't No Tellin'. He just told me that not too long ago, and so that's really dope. Did not know that until he told me. It's funny because DJ was our guest last week, so that's pretty cool, pretty awesome. All right, who's in the chat? We got a couple people watching. What's going on? Chat your name, chat your number. What's happening? But yeah, so I know my man Trevor. He went to Manny with me. He's been producing now for, I'm pretty sure, since he was in like middle school. He's about a year or two younger than me. Used to lifeguard together. Classic times. So let's see okay. So the reason I'm going back to Nashville this weekend to work with a guy and a songwriter. Songwriter is a good friend of mine. Went to MTSU with me, and this other guy, he goes by Socio. He is a R&B rapper, singer, and we're just kind of gonna lock in my buddy's house in Smyrna, which is like probably like 20 minutes from downtown Nashville. So we're gonna lock in at his house and just record and work and make beats, and with him and Socio and Striker, we're gonna write, and I'm just gonna be recording and making beats. It's gonna be really cool. We're going for about 3 days, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. And Socio is up and coming. He's had a management. He kind of just rolled into some good management, and he's got some really good opportunities coming up for him in the near future. So some stuff he was telling me but I'm not going to tell you right now, but because I'm not really sure of all the logistics and stuff. But that's really going to be a lot of fun this weekend. It's going to be a whole experience to sit and with a songwriter in the room also, and an artist, and make beats and then record. It's going to be pretty dope. So that's going to be fun. Another beat by Trevor. He goes by T Lanky. This is KT. Trevor he sent me like a whole hard drive full of beats, man. He's been doing it forever. So that picture of him, that's him in his basement. I think he might have moved from there, but he had a spot in his basement. It was like a full soundproof room and everything. Super dope. All right, guys. Well, I guess we can kind of jump on into our guest for today. He goes by Mr. He is an up-and-coming singer and artist here in Louisville, Kentucky. I met him through David Lee, who was the third guest on Lush Louisville. He's a recording engineer down in Atlanta. And this guy, Mister's been recording music for a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about his upcoming projects and things like that, and some of the things he's been dealing with. He reached out to me, so that was really cool. This will be very interesting. I'm thinking about, I think that was, yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. He's done some recording around Louisville, and yeah, so we're just gonna bring him in and talk about all that. It's gonna be a great time. Thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yes, Sarsky.
But what's everybody been up to, man? What's going on? Who's jumping in here? What we talking about? What's the topic of discussion? Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Not too many people in the chat right now, but that's all right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give Mister a call. So we're pretty much ready. I'll let Trevor's beat play out. All right. Let's give him a ring. Yo, man.
Hey,
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, man. Everybody welcome in Mr. Mute or Mr. Sorry. How you been today?
I've been
Yes,
pretty good. How've you been?
Sarsky.
Good, man. Can't complain.
Yes, yes.
So, all right, Mister. So let's go ahead and kind of start. Just telling us a little bit about yourself and your background in Louisville, kind of where you grew up, and also the different schools you went to, man.
Okay. First, my real name is Kenneth. But my artist name is Mister. And I am from Louisville, Kentucky. I was born and raised here, and I've lived in the Fern Creek area and J-Town area, and I went to Fern Creek High School my freshman year, and I went to J-Town the rest of my high school career.
Awesome, awesome, sweet, man. Did you? So you're born and raised here in Louisville, and when did you kind of first find your talent in music and in singing, and just in music in general?
My first experience with singing, kind of, and I was like, I kind of, this is kind of fun, is kind of, it goes back to middle school. When I was in seventh grade, I used to like go along and just, sing songs sometimes. Like,
Right.
I wasn't really paying attention to how I was singing them, or, I was just, singing a song, and people were like, oh my God, you actually have a pretty good voice. And I would sing along with Zanaya Harris. She's actually an artist now. She's
Oh,
been
I know
working
who
really
that is.
hard for years.
Yeah.
I went to school with her. We went to Ramsey Middle School, and we would sing all the time together. And so that's kind of how I really discovered my true love for singing.
Awesome. Yeah. So how you said you've known Zanaya for a while?
Oh yeah, me and Zanaya. I've known Zanaya since I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, she's been at 400 recording. I've seen her there working with Nick Meredith. She's very very good.
Oh yeah, Zanaya. I love her voice. It's like butter.
Yeah. Have you all worked together on any songs, or did y'all just kind of were just good friends?
We haven't really worked together on any songs, but we're very good friends, and I always tell her, when she drops something, I love her, music, and I support her, and she
Hmm.
does the same with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Doesn't she just put out a song, something like a single called Moon or
Yeah.
something
Uh
like
huh.
that?
She just put out Moon, and it is really, it gives you that really like neo soul and R and B tone, and I just it's beautiful to listen to.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, man. Yeah. So okay, so you're in Louisville. You know Zanaya, and you've been singing forever. You're not really paying attention to what you're singing, but you're singing. So when was the first time you recorded yourself?
The first time I recorded myself would have to have been, I want to say, late 2017, after I got back home from college, because I did go to UK, but I didn't want to say I went there because it was just for such a short period.
Oh yeah.
Like, I went there and I was there for like a month and a half, but the first week there my grandmother passed, so
Oh
that's
wow.
kind of what inspired me to get into music, because I realized, okay, if this is what you love, you need to go do it, because you only have this one time to get everything right. You don't get to go back. You don't,
Yeah.
um, so I recorded myself around that time period. It's kind of after, so late 2017.
Late 2017. Cool. Yeah. What were you studying at UK? Were you doing music?
No, that's the funny part is I had actually went there for acting because I got accepted in the fine arts, I think it is, Bachelor of Fine Arts department. And it's kind of like I was at UK, but it was kind of like a separate little community from UK,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it just, it wasn't what I expected,
Right.
and I just took time to come back home.
Absolutely. That's smart, man. I mean, you knew what you wanted to do and you made it, you made it happen.
Right, and plus I was going through so much at that time. It was
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, well, it's good that you know that, man. Yeah, so all right, you're okay, so you start recording late 2017. Was that where were you recording? Was that kind of at 400 or around other studios? What were you doing?
So when I first started recording, I was recording on a really I was it was just Apple headphones, like on
Yeah.
my garage band, and I was just like, this is kind of fun. And then I would write because I've always had a hand in writing. um
Yeah.
like I've wrote plays before, that have we did little contests at school, and my play made it to actors theater, so I've always been writing. And so I kind of jump started that then. But then what got me really really into like recording in a studio is when I started working at my current job. And a lot of my coworkers were telling me, you should check out, Braxton, One Take Timmy. They were
Oh
just,
yeah.
I was just oblivious, and they were just, telling me about all these different local talents, that are out there. And I was just like, oh my God, I took a listen. I was like, their music's dope. It sounds like it could be on the radio. And so from there, that's when I linked up with Braxton, and I got introduced to Braxton, and he really opened up the door for me to record in a studio. So that was around January of 2018.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah. So speaking a little bit more about that, so you meet Braxton, and I know Braxton. I met him through 400 when we were talking about this when he was recording with David Lee. And so speak about that relationship with you and Braxton. So was it kind of like he took you under his wing, or he just, he was looking out for you and brought you to the studio? And how was that? What was it like?
Yep, it was a really good experience. So basically, I went to Braxton invited me to his house, and we had a vibe session, so we could get to know each other, and so we wouldn't just be thrown in a situation not knowing what
Absolutely.
his sound is, what my sound is, even though I listen to his music. And we wrote and stuff, and then we went. He actually did everything for me. Like, he booked the studio session, David Lee, all of that, and he introduced me to David Lee, and then that's how that connection got formed. And we went from there. In the studio, was the vibe was really nice at 400. It
Yeah.
was really elaborate. I had never been in anything like that, so it was kind of cool for me to be there and
Yeah.
work with him.
Yeah. 400. They got a nice space.
And yeah, Braxton, yeah, he really did take me under his wing, because even after that, it wasn't like he stopped. He still gave me the tools, kept me in contact with a bunch of people to help me. And so,
Yeah. Definitely. Well, that's awesome, dude. That's great that he kind of helped you out like that. And
yeah.
so, what were some of the things that you kind of learned from him? You're in these studios now. What were some of the biggest takeaways you had from making that transition to using your Apple headphones to being in these bigger studios?
The biggest thing I learned was that you really, it's fast.
Yeah.
It's very fast. And I know, especially David Lee, he works really fast as well, because he's, in Atlanta, he was talking about, you have to be fast, fast,
Oh
fast.
yeah.
And that's one thing I had to adapt to, is that um it's just everything, it can go either way in the studio. And that's like verbatim what Braxton told me is, in the studio, bro, it can go either way. It can go this way or that way. So um it's very fast. Like, I learned how to, like, kind of improv a little bit, like because I have that acting background as well. You
Okay,
know, in high
that's
school I
cool.
did
Yeah,
acting, so I just
Yes,
kind of like
sir.
when a word or something didn't match up how I thought it would sound at home and in the studio, I kind of just improvised and
yeah,
did that, and that's when I really got into like the I want to say the science of it, like BPMs, like beats per minute. Like that's why my my writing was off because I was just sticking it in GarageBand and breaking the beat down and writing to it instead of like having the same BPM that they were having in the studio. So that was kind of why I was off. I had to learn a lot of that. So it's been a
yeah.
huge learning process.
Definitely, that's really cool. What you said about having that acting background and you're kind of the improvising taking place in the
Yeah.
studio. You're pulling from the that
Oh yeah.
background, that talent. That's really cool. Yeah. So when you say improvising, you talking about like kind of freestyling or like like just coming up with
I yeah, I had to I had to freestyle. I would freestyle or I would just kind of have him punch me in like, fill myself in, the blanks.
hmm
Um like, if there was an open part, I'd be like, let me fill myself and I'll just do this thing where David will just let me, hear myself on the record, like start me like maybe 20 seconds before and then I'll just keep singing something until it clicks, but it'll make sense though.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's really cool. Um,
yeah.
did so the you're doing that. You're in the studio now. You're learning these different processes. Did that have an effect on? I'm assuming it would. Your creative process in general as a whole. Did that kind of like have an effect on how your creative process went for writing and recording, or what is your creative process like?
Yeah, it really did have an effect on my creative process because at first um I was just kind of like writing stuff down and I wasn't as confident in my writings and I was kind of like when I say just writing stuff down, like it'd be like 30 minutes before the session or an hour before the session and here I am writing stuff down
Mm-hmm.
where when that's when Braxton came into play because we had a session together and I kind of pulled that once and I kind of like I wanted I guess I want I don't know what my I don't know what I was thinking but I guess I just wanted to go in the session and just like freestyle it but that's when he came to play and was like it's best to have your stuff already written because you should so the session can go smoothly and that's what I learned from him so he played a big role as like like you said taking me under his wing to help me with that so he really did help my creative process.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. That's awesome. Now so you who who's inspiring you, and then that's kind of lead into you know who's inspiring you in your creative process, and then also how would you describe the music that you're making? What kind of music are you doing?
um I'll say the number one person that inspires me in my life will definitely be my mom and then it'll be my best friend Leah. I know she's watching. And from there on out, when it comes to like music, I would definitely say mainstream. I would say Chris Brown, Neo. Let's see who else. Omarion, and of course Usher. Just different, basically anybody that was popping in the late '90s and early 2000s. Because I was born in '98, so I kind of got like the last little bit of that late '90s vibe. So kind of anybody else popping during that time period inspired me, and I'll say her and Janae Aiko definitely inspired me too. But on a local scene, or more of an independent route. I would say Braxton definitely does. One Take Timmy, I love his work ethic too.
Okay.
ATM, that's my guy. Just it's a lot of people that inspire me. Just so many.
Right. Well, that's good. Yeah. Now that those people, all these inspirations, are they kind of so they've all kind of got a hand on the kind of music that you make? How would you, if you could describe your music in a couple words, how would you say it?
I would say that I definitely make R&B music.
Hmm.
And I would say they they don't the people that I'm inspired by like I'm not like a car. I'm not gonna try to say I'm like. It's like okay. I don't want to say this in a mean way, but I'm not just like them. I'm
Hmm.
kind of myself, but I do feel really inspired by like different things, like their work ethic, their aesthetics. You know, just different things about them as who they are as an artist. I really do enjoy. But as far as the music I make, I just make regular R&B music. Um, I used to make in my earlier days hip hop like infused R&B music, but now it's just straight R&B.
Yeah. Okay. I got you. That makes sense. So talk a little bit about your where you're at right now with your music. You've been doing it for about three years or so, and do you have what's your content looking like? How you've been doing with that, and how has quarantine kind of been affecting that? Where are you at right now with your career?
Um, I'd say right now I'm in the middle of the beginning. Um, because I've been doing this since late 2017. I really took initiative in early 2018, and I'll say that it's been a long road. It's been tough. There's still a lot to go, and
Yeah.
it's been it's been crazy because because I started off with my government name. I was Kenneth Brown, and then
That's not
I
a bad name.
released it.
I like
I
that.
released it. Yeah, and then after that, I released the EP, and it was called After Dark, and it had like five or six songs on it, and it was just what I was going through at the time, and you know how I was feeling to an extent. But then after that, I realized that you know, I was kind of building me a little team behind me, and I was getting in contact with other connections in the industry, in the mainstream industry. Like I had different friends reach out to me that was like, hey, like my dad knows this guy or my mom knows this, that
Hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I felt like at that point, that's when I realized, is this really how I want my music to come off to the world? Is this really how I want to be heard? And when I listened back to my music, I was just like, it's good, but it's not really 100% me. It's not 100% who I'm being. I'm just I felt like the team that I was going to build behind me or that I was building only accepted that version of me. And
Right.
when I realized that, that's when I like took all my music off of streaming platforms and I changed my name and I started fresh as Mister because I feel like I'm still trying to figure out who I am and like because I'm only 21 and I feel like as I navigate through that journey, my music is gonna kind of help others understand like where I am right now.
Yeah.
And as far as like how my creative process has been compromised during quarantine, it's really went a lot smoother actually, because shout out to David Lee again. These people I keep them in close contact, so I'm always in talks with them. But I had bought equipment like a while back, and I just never used it. I just kept going to the studio because I felt like because I was listening to different people, I felt like that my equipment wasn't good enough for me to make music in my room. But David Lee was like, "Oh no, you can use that. You can use that." And I'll let you hear a snippet of a song that I did with that equipment.
Yeah.
And so it's I've been doing it because you can't really be in contact with too many people with this coronavirus going around. So
Yes. True that. Very true. So David did kind of help you do your home studio setup.
oh yeah, he did. He helped me with everything. I have like a mic stand right here, a chaotic eyeball, and a
Okay.
reflection shield, and I have like I think you can see like I have some some acoustic foam over there and over here. So I kind of
Cool. Yeah. So you got the whole little studio going. That's good, man. Do you
yeah.
do a whole lot of home record? I mean, I know you just said you weren't really using a lot of your equipment because you're in the studio so much, but are you now and kind of like during the quarantine ish where you doing
Definitely,
right?
definitely. Like, there's been times I wanted to go to the studio, but I couldn't due to due to the quarantine, and even after they opened everything back up, I feel like they did so prematurely that I didn't feel comfortable
Yeah.
going to any studios because everyone says that they're gonna sanitize and stuff, but I saw firsthand with different institutions and businesses they don't really exercise that
Yeah,
statement.
there's
So
nobody mandating that, you know?
yeah, so I didn't feel comfortable because like it was funny because I went to the studio. The last session I had was at Huge Music on March 6th and March 7th. I had like this 18-hour session where I had like a break in between there. So it was like Friday and Saturday. And me and David Lee was there and we like met all these dope people and dope connections. So when we did so, it was a really good networking, to get to know this person, that person. And I feel like coronavirus kind of robbed me from that and some other people because that's
Yeah.
how we get known, that's how we connect, that's how we network in this industry is coming in close contact with each other and passing by. And I feel like it definitely robbed some of us of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It for sure did. It just took away that. I mean, we couldn't meet up with anybody for a while, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So, so that's happening. You're at huge music studios. Any other studios you're going to?
I did go to. I was going to Out the Box pretty
Out the
regularly,
box.
and before that, it was 400. I did one or two sessions there, but not very often because it was just so out of my way. But I love the setup. And Out the Box was always definitely closer to me because I live in J Town, and
Mm,
so
cool. Well, I've heard really a lot about huge music studios. People tell me I need to go check it out. And can you describe it, man? Like, what's it like?
the vibe is insane. I just want to say that when you walk in huge, it's almost like a time capsule or something. Like it's like a time machine because when you walk in there, no shade to Louisville because Louisville's dope. I love Louisville, but when you walk in there, you don't feel like you're in Louisville anymore. You just feel like you're somewhere else. Like maybe you're in LA, wherever you want to go, wherever your dream place is, you feel like you're there. And everyone's just so friendly there. The staff. Shout out to DJ Seizure. He's really dope. I just felt at home when I was there. It was a really nice vibe, especially the Wraith room is dope with the ceiling and
Yeah, I've heard about the Wraith Room. How many rooms do they have?
well, at the time I went, they were still kind of like constructing everything. So if I'm correct, I don't want to give out wrong information, but I think they had in total like 3 or 4 studio booths, I believe.
Mm.
But the only one that was open at the time was Room C, which was the Wraith room.
And huge music studio is down on 4th Street, isn't it?
It's down on 4th Street. It's right. It's literally like there's this Mexican restaurant on the corner. It's
Yep.
called Mi Casita, and it's like a little door that's like if you walk past it, you will straight up miss it. But you go straight down that hallway and you go up the elevator, and that's huge.
Okay, because I was interning at Downtown Recording, which is literally
Mhm.
right across the street from the Sealbach and from Huge. But I've never seen Huge. I didn't know it was actually that close until people started telling me. But I need to go
Oh
check it
yeah.
out. I
Oh yeah.
actually, yeah, last night I was recording here at my house, and my buddy, you heard about Alex Grow? Do you know him?
Alex Grow. That name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, he's an in-house producer at Huge right now, Huge Music, and he hit me up, and him and Blasian were looking for an engineer, but I was doing a session here, so I was like, man, I totally would, but
Oh,
I've still
that's
never been.
dope.
I know I need to go. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad you've been in there and getting that nice experience. I have really heard about that Wraith room. People really seem act like that's a big. I mean, it's pretty cool because they got like the stars in the ceiling and everything
Yeah,
like in the
it's
Wraith.
it's a very dope vibe. Very dope. I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
really.
Well, cool, man. So, all right. So, one of the things we kind of talked about or emphasized about, you wanted to speak about some of the struggles you've endured during your coming up in your career over the with the music, and so speak on that. What are some of the things you've had to endure, and what's happening? Tell us about it.
Oh, the number one thing that I feel like I don't want to speak for everyone again, but I feel like a lot of independent artists do is the financial situation, and just being the breadwinner and just trying to carry all of that load on you, because when you're an independent artist, you don't have a multi-million dollar label behind you promoting you and really pushing you and investing in you. So it's like people do bash labels over here, but they do have some pros about them as
Oh,
well as
definitely,
cons. And
definitely.
the same thing with being an independent artist. It's like you have full creative control, but you have to do the footwork. It's really about you because you're independent. So that has been a main struggle. It's just been trying to get in the studio, make ends meet while being while trying to be a regular normal person, and
Yeah,
it feels like you live a double life sometimes.
right.
I tell people a lot because I'm coming in from work writing, or I'm coming in from work, oh well, maybe I need to get this ready for this, or am I going to have a photo shoot, different things like that. So another struggle would definitely be trying to master my sound. Um, Trying to master my sound has definitely been a huge struggle for me because when I started out, again, I wasn't being like 100% authentic me. I was just trying to fit into this pocket and trying to,
Yeah,
generate some kind of revenue or whatever. But after I realized, this is what I love to do, I have to love it, because if I don't love it, then what's the point of me doing this? So once I
exactly.
mastered that sound and I started having fun, I was like, so now on my new project that I am working on, you guys will kind of hear, the evolution. I
Yeah.
have all my old tracks on my SoundCloud.
Oh, yeah. So there was one thing you just said that I was gonna go off of. Oh, the kind of the life of an independent artist. I spoke with DJ Kelly last week about this too. He was telling me, literally what you just said. Am I gonna do a photo shoot? Am I gonna, the whole financial situation in
Yeah.
general as an independent artist. I mean, you handle all your money, and
Mhm.
literally you can. But one of the pros DJ was telling me was that, I mean, you can literally do whatever you want,
Do whatever.
but
Hmm.
you got to be smart, obviously.
But yeah, you definitely have to be smart, because although you can do whatever, you just have to. I've here lately. I've been making a budget. Like, I've been making budget plans because it helps me. Because I'm the type of person that I have to be strategic, because it helps me stay on task. Where if I just, I'm making, because people are like, oh, don't set deadlines because, blah blah blah. But if I don't set deadlines, then I won't be on track. Like, I'll just be making music and making different songs and won't even know what they equate to.
Right.
So, I definitely do think that being independent teaches you to be more humble. It teaches you to respect everyone else's workflow as well as your own. And it really does
Yes,
humble
I
you,
feel
because
you.
that's when you learn, okay, like a mainstream artist might have this huge ego about themselves and might come in and be really rude or disrespectful to the crew, like the engineer and the interns or whatever. But when you're independent, you pay for all of that, and you learn that those people need to have their money just like you need your money,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's been a huge thing with me. Like, at my day job, like, if I'm on mandatory overtime or they tell me to come in and I done booked the studio session, well, if I don't go into work, I'm gonna miss money.
Yeah.
If I don't go to the studio session, I'm gonna lose money, and I'm gonna lose my art, you know
It's a good way of
because
putting it.
yeah.
Losing your art. That's never heard that before. That's really dope. But you're right. I mean, it's like there's so many balances, especially with money limitations, financial situations, and being independent. It's definitely, you have to really think about how you're spending your time and what's worth your time. Definitely the biggest one of the biggest key factors as an independent artist. What is really worth your time?
Yes,
And
sir.
like a day job plays into that. Being in the studio plays into that, obviously. So,
Yes, it is really a challenge.
but
Definitely.
yeah, I'm sure you're growing and learning a lot about yourself.
Oh yeah, I've learned so much about myself in this. One thing I definitely learned is I am like a perfectionist. Like David Lee will tell you that as well. Like when he was working with me one day, he was like, "Oh my God," he was like, "I'm mixing everything up." He was like, this song, remember, it doesn't sound like it was recorded in my mom's basement. It sounds amazing. You're gonna like this project is gonna be really big for you, and you're gonna really get a lot of respect from people because he
Yeah,
saw me like it's been like a gamble, and that's another thing with the studio, and that's another thing, kind of tying back into what Braxton said earlier, where it can go either this way or that way.
hmm,
Being in the studio was kind of a gamble for me because I'm not like I'm only there for 3 hours and I'm done type of guy. I like learned early on that I need at least 8 hours to do a track because I like to take my time and kind of experiment, and I really do take it seriously. Like I remember just being in one session. It was actually my second huge session where I did this song, and it was really it was really hard for me. I spent like 4 hours on the trying to make the hook right and the verses right. I spent 4 hours on like just a couple of lines. You
hmm.
know, so it's kind of like, it's up to you whether you want to make that sacrifice to make your music, come out
Yeah,
good.
that's important. You're gonna have those. Now, there's one thing to be like. It's funny. David Lee told me this too, that if you come in and you expect just to freestyle a whole rap, that's not really using unless you're really good at freestyling. That's not the
Right.
best way to use your time. Now it's one thing what you're describing is you come in, you're prepared, but you're just not hitting it, you're just not getting it right, and you just work and work and work, and you're making that sacrifice, kind of a time and money thing, but
Hmm.
for the sake of your art, so you don't lose your art.
Yep.
There you go. That's dope.
Yes.
Man, it's amazing to hear everybody's different stories and um, mindsets and processes because it really opens my mind too. That's real,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I've made a lot of sacrifices in the booth like that. It's just been like, if this isn't right, I can't just half-ass do it and put it out. Sorry, I
Yeah,
don't know if I
absolutely.
can cuss, but
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So, what am I? What's the any sneak peeks or any thing we need to know about your upcoming projects? Any plans you can lay us a detail for us? What's going on?
Um, I plan to release it around my birthday in October. October 12th is when my birthday is, so I plan to release it around that time if everything runs smoothly. Um, so yeah, my project, I am still working on it. I'm trying to finish everything up and get it mixed, and I'm trying to get the copyrights to, kind of clear and stuff. So I'm taking it a lot more serious this time around than just releasing something. Um, and also, it's gonna be like the sound is gonna be more evolved and more mature, and the stuff I'm talking about is gonna be more candid. And also, oops, I have my hand. But I'm supposed to be doing like a photo shoot here soon for it, and so it's coming, but it's just slow. Like I originally wanted to have a listening party prior to COVID, before COVID came into play. I wanted to have a listening party and invite different artists from around the city, like ATM. Like we've been trying to collab for like 2 years now. I've went to some of his sessions, like Delmar James, you know hotel lobby, like so many. I wanted to like kind of bring everyone together to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got to. That's really huge. Listening parties like that are really cool. Uh,
Yeah.
one thing I was gonna say, it was really important. This happens to me all the time. You just mentioned you were talking about studio your project. Oh, do you have a name? Do you have a name for your project?
um I'm deciding between names right now, but I think I might stick with the original. If it was originally going to be called Lavender, um just because of where I am in my life right now,
Mm-hmm.
as far as discovering who I am, and you know really I'm starting to grow up and be my own person. So the project really is going to define, like, okay, this is who you are, this is who you want to be. If people like it, oh well, if they, so that's great. But if they don't, then you don't need them in your life. So it's really
There
that.
you go.
It's me making that bold statement.
Yes, sir. Making that bold statement.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
important.
Starsky.
So you also said you're waiting for some copyrights to clear. Are you using samples? Are you sampling and getting those samples cleared, or are you talking about copyrights for your music?
Just copyrights from my music.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm not.
you're going
I'm,
through the actual like U.S. Copyright Office.
yes, because with
Good.
they because they're really complicated. Because I've never
Yeah,
used
it
the
is.
service before,
Yeah.
so I'm having trouble with it. But I'm learning along the way. Guys, YouTube everything. If you're watching this, YouTube everything. It
Yep.
makes your life a lot easier. Um, but as far as samples go, I'm not really a fan of samples because I don't know, I'm weird. I feel like that kind of I feel like I'm not being original and I'm kind of biting off of something else. But in the same instance, I know that samples are just someone really heavily admiring a song and just wanting to, use that. But everything's original. I'm working with a producer, Eli. He is from and he lives in Honolulu, Hawaii. So
Ooh,
we've just been kind of working back and forth. So yeah, everything's original and fresh.
that's cool. Speak about that relationship. How'd you get linked up with him in Hawaii?
Well, it's funny because I came across his YouTube page and he only had like a couple of subscribers, and like there's bigger producers like because I feel like every producer in 2020 has like they're located and they're based out of somewhere, but they have a website. Then they have their beats that they put on YouTube. Then they have their beat stars or their
Hmm.
Airbit link. And I kind of came across him and got in contact with him on social media. I was like, "Hey, I love your sound. Um, do you mind making any beats for me? Like, do you mind like custom?" And he was like, "Oh, sure." He was really dope, really humble. He's been in the industry for a little bit. When I say industry, I just mean like doing music and stuff. Like,
Hmm.
he is so talented. Like, he hand plays all his instruments, and he has like a room where he has drums and stuff, and so everything will be kind of like organic in a way. And he's just a really dope person.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Now, have you been out there to work with him personally, or are you just all over email and stuff?
No, I haven't been out there to work with him personally.
You definitely should do that someday. That'd
Oh
be
yeah, he definitely he was like, we need to get like when you come to Hawaii, like I'm gonna get you to perform here, and
yeah,
so he kind of is on board. He's on my team, so that's really good.
that would be awesome performing in Hawaii.
It would. I was like, wow, that'll be crazy.
Yeah, you said he's in Honolulu.
Yep, he's in Honolulu.
Whew, man, that's that's something. So you haven't been into Hawaii, but have you been anywhere? Where have you taken your talents in the country, out of the country? What other states have you been to with doing your music, or any other cities?
Um, that's a hard question just because um I've always been kind of like I'm not gonna say one and done, but I'm a take a break type of guy. Like I haven't been doing music that long,
Right.
um, but I haven't really done anything outside of Louisville, if that makes any sense. Like I haven't went to Miami and done any shows, or I haven't been on tour or anything. But in the future, that would definitely be something I would like to try.
Oh, absolutely.
But every time I've been out of town, it's kind of been like for a family vacation or, you know, something like that. And just a break from our regular work life. And I've always just kind of try to keep it about family and, spending time with them instead of turning it into like a business or a music thing.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
I would love to try that though. I would love to go,
You
to different.
definitely should look into touring at some point. You when you put more content out and stuff like that. I'm sure that would be a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. That's neat, man. So you're now a couple years into your craft. You're working. You're at different studios here in Louisville. You're meeting new engineers, new connections, meeting people. Well, he's still in the country, but he's far away and on the Hawaiian Islands.
Hmm.
What have you noticed or seen about the overall creative scene in Louisville? anything that's caught your attention? What do you just kind of notice in general about the creatives here in Louisville and the whole creative scene?
Oh, that's hard. What I've noticed is I'm not gonna use names in this because I don't want to offend anybody, but what I've noticed is that like around 2013 to like I want to say 2016, 2017 ish. I don't really know where to cap that off, so I'm gonna just say 2016 ish.
Yeah.
I noticed that there was a huge spike in like certain people around the city like grinding, like doing their thing, like coming out with these sounds and these projects and this music and stuff. I wasn't really an avid listener to it, but that's why you know I knew about it, but I wasn't just an avid listener or anything. But I'll
Yeah.
say 2017 ish is like when when I started doing it is when like a huge surplus of people started doing a lot of music around here. And the people that were doing it back then, like some of them are mainstream now, some of them made it. Some of them are still independent, grinding and getting bread. Doing their thing.
Hmm.
So that's what I've mainly took a notice to is it's just so vast here. You just don't know until you really sit down and look at it.
Yeah, for sure. It's like once you have got all these stresses and these things kind of weighing you down with financial things and just being an independent artist in general. But it's like after a while, you've been putting time into your craft. You just take a step back and you're like, well, what have I really learned? Like, what's really happening? Like, the kind of look at the bigger picture. And
Right.
overall, it's like kind of just be thankful, really.
Oh
It's your,
yeah.
of your process and your growth and stuff like that. And then you take into account like, well, the whole creative scene, like what it's really been like. Moments like that are really cool. It's kind of like a reflection, reflecting on everything you've been doing.
Right. Yeah. It's um. Yeah. Everyone here, everyone in the on the Louisville music scene that I have saw from that point on have been really, really talented individuals, and they are grinding and they're working. And I'm very thankful that they kind of paved the way for me to be able to step out and be, be who I want to be. I'm just really glad that they had the guts to do it, and start that process for me because there was a point
Absolutely.
where I didn't have as much confidence to step out there and sing or, do.
Yeah.
So,
That's cool, man. Yeah. So you feel like your confidence is growing? You kind of stepping out more?
oh yeah, I definitely feel like my confidence has grown since I first started because, like I said, with that first project, I kind of did one of those like I don't know what to call them. I guess you can call them the little bootleg contest where you like put your song like Funk Master Flex. He might have like a contest or World Star might have a contest, and they're like, "Oh, your song is gonna get rated, and it's gonna make it." You kind of pay like a little fee or whatever.
Right.
I did one of those, and like one of the songs that a lot of people at the time liked, like Family and Friends, and like ATM. Just different artists like that they really vibed with. I put it on there. It was called On the Other Side. It's actually on my SoundCloud um, if you would like to listen to it later on. But
Yeah.
um, I submitted it and I got a lot of negative feedback, and that's when I really like lost my momentum, and I was like, well, I was like, I really tried and I gave my all on that, so like you guys don't like that. So I really kind of took a step back and I was like, so what am I doing wrong? Like, what do I need to do differently? Like, is it my voice? Like, is it the way I sang? Or, so I was really self conscious and I lost my confidence for like, I'll say I was kind of out of commission for like that. And I'll say not the whole year, but like, I'll say maybe like 8 months. I just stopped doing music and I lost my momentum again there, even harder. So, I've never had a vocal coach. That's another thing. I just kind of know, and I'm not really musically inclined as far as like, oh, that's an A sharp or that's a B
Yeah.
minor.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I just kind of know what goes with my ear, what sounds right.
Hmm. Well, that's really cool and interesting, man. You hit that. You had some good momentum and you kind of had a little shake in your confidence from the negative feedback. But it's again, you said you were putting your all in, and certain people didn't like it. Music is subjective, man. Like
Yes.
it's so
And like, if you put your all into it, and but you step back and kind of analyze where you were and
Oh
how
yeah.
how you can get better. And so moments like that, it's kind of like I was in a I went to college at Middle Tennessee State University, and I was in a advanced engineering class. I studied audio production, so it was like a recording studio class. Awesome class. We got a lot of studio time, but one of the
Wow.
assignments we had to do a mix, and then we all sat down in class. There was probably like 15 of us, and we listened to the same song 15 times and listened to like all of our different mixes of it. And most people got like we rated from like I think it was from like from what I this was like 2019 in like March, and I rated or we rated from like 1 to 5, and most people would give out like between like 1 to 3s, and like after we would listen, we would get, and that kind of determined our grade, and everybody would say their scores, and most people were scoring mine, and I thought I was like good at mixing at the time. I was doing a lot of rap, and this wasn't a rap song that we were mixing, but like the majority of everybody, for most people, it got like 2s or 3s, and like same for me. Like when everybody scored mine, I knew it was mine. I was just like, dang man, like you know, and that's why I'm in the class, to learn. But I was just like, dang, is this really what I want to do? Like people aren't understanding what I was going for. Like I have no. But then I was talking to my friends about it, and they were like, well, obviously you're like aware of that, but also what I just said, yeah, I was still learning. I still am learning. And but moments like that, it's kind of like a punch right in the chest or stab in the heart, but you come back from it, and you take a step back and think about it,
Yeah.
and then just keep moving.
And I think my personal life had a lot to do with it as well because I'm I have thick skin because when I was in theater in high school I had our theater teacher, she stressed us, you guys have to have thick skin, and here you
Yeah,
have to have thick
yeah,
skin
exactly.
because if you don't, then you're gonna affect that's gonna affect your character and the way you perform. And um so when I say thick skin, like in the booth, I always ask David Lee for feedback. If there's anyone else that happens to walk in, like especially out the box, like if Trapmore or Jordan, Grade A Sound, if any of them walked in, I would ask them for their honest feedback. And if they was like, bro, this isn't good, or you should redo that, I would go and redo it and I would do it better.
Hmm.
And I'll be like, David, do you like this? He'd be like, no, that's too much, or no, that you can do that better, or that, So I am open to constructive criticism, but I think when it was just like a large quantity of it, because some of the stuff they were saying was true, but I think it was just me seeing like my song that I really did like having that trash can where there was like rated. It was like trash. Then it had a trash emoji. Then it had
Hmm.
like tools, like needs work. Then it was like good with a thumbs up. Then it was like um fire. Like
Hmm.
I loved it. And just seeing so many trash cans, it's stupid now looking back, but seeing so many trash cans outweighed the fires and the goods.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's a great way to look at it, man. That's
and
amazing.
I'm not used to all of that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm not used
No,
to
no,
all
no.
that negative, like all that feedback like that at once.
But hey, now I mean, you got to have thick skin. That's true.
Yes, you do.
You
Not
know, t-
everybody's gonna vibe to your music.
right? Yeah, and take it with a grain of salt and just keep moving forward. That's all you can do, man. All right,
Yeah.
so kind of, we're talking about the Louisville creative scene, the things that you've seen, and people are making it. Some people are staying independent. Where do you see, and not even from a, well, I guess we can kind of focus more on from the standpoint of music and artists. Where do you see Louisville's artistic and creative scene in the next 5 years? Do you think?
Wow, that's a bold statement. This is gonna be hard because
Yeah.
it's in 5 years. 5 years for some things it can be a really long time, and for some things it can be a really short amount of time. I'll
True.
just say that based on what I saw,
Yes,
not just being
Sarsky.
subject to just music, I'll say photography, you know, I'll say hair, like beauty, like even the beauty industry. I'll say all of that stuff, like when it comes into being art, just everything that everyday people don't do. Acting, I'll just say that I feel like it's gonna expand. Expansion wise, it's gonna get way bigger. I'd say triple or quadruple the amount of people and artists and creators are gonna be there in 5 years. But I feel like for evolution wise, it's gonna take a lot longer as far as like having the right, you know,
Yeah.
having the right people in here to help
Yeah.
everyone kind of drive that, their life or whatever
Yeah.
down
The,
the path
it
they need to go,
yeah, it's kind of like the entertainment business. It's something I kind of focus on, or that I've been talking about, or kind of preaching. Honestly, is the at least from the music standpoint, the music business here in Louisville is the talent in here in Louisville is outweighing the music business very much.
Immaculate,
Yeah,
yes.
like the actual business side. And me and DJ Kelly were talking last week about people like John Woo. You're familiar with him, right? You know about
John Woo.
yeah,
I've heard of John Woo, yeah.
yeah. He I mean, he does. It's not just him, but he's kind of like a prolific figure here in Louisville as a kind of like a music mogul, producer, manager, and he's all about kind of what my goal of this podcast is just linking people together, shining light on different creatives and getting their stories. That's my goal, and he does the same. He'll hold these uh, producer and artist panels whenever he does the next one. I'll definitely let you know about it. If you don't follow him on Instagram, I think it's just John Woo Beats, but he does these panels
John Woo
at
Beats. Yeah, I definitely will follow him.
and he does these like connection networking panels at La La Land Studios. And if you're an artist or producer, you just show up and sign in, you get a name tag, and you just meet people and link, and you listen to people give their or some people will play their music, and some people will do like a performance, and then you just link and meet with people. It's really cool. I went to two of them. He only had two of them. He had one in January and one in February, and then after
COVID.
that, yeah, right, exactly. But it was awesome, man. It was really really cool. So I know I talked to him not too long ago, and he said this was in like April, and he said that hopefully sometime in May that we'll have the next one, but obviously that's not happening.
I know.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh
it's
my
about
God.
to be August, dude, and they're talking about sending these kids back to school.
I know that's so crazy. I'm glad here that they're, in Louisville that they're just, polio. It's funny because he was my principal in high school. It's funny, not funny, but it's great that they're not sending them back and they're starting them off on NTI from home with the Chromebooks and stuff.
Mm,
And, they are making sure that kids get their Chromebooks and stuff from what I've heard. And, I just think that's wonderful that they're doing that here.
yeah,
And, in other places, it's just not looking good.
dude, yeah, it's like they're giving us all this information, some true, some probably not, more than likely not. It's like
I know.
what to believe, and then on top of that, a lot of people are just ignoring. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm wearing my mask all the time, like, no, but like, it's like people are like, yeah, we're gonna open up the schools. Like, I don't think they should, man. I mean, in order
They
for
shouldn't. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
bad enough that they made everyone else go back to work for the sake of the economy, and it's like,
yeah,
I mean,
and
are
now
you
it's getting
serious?
worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse. More people are dying, and it's a really really scary thing. And I've never because back in '09, I was in like what I was in fourth grade. I remember very vividly H1N1.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like everyone thought that swine flu was gonna do what this did.
yeah. I
Basically,
remember that. I was in sixth grade, dude. Yeah, that was.
it was crazy.
They were giving out vaccinations at my middle school. I remember that.
Yeah, swine flu. It was like what that didn't do is what this did. Like it's wild and it's really chilling.
Yeah, dude, very chilling. But on a brighter note, we get to do things like this, stream a podcast, get your
Yep.
story, different artist stories.
Bill.
We've had a lot. You're actually the last artist for this season. This is episode 9, and then episode 10 is next Saturday. I've got a different creative on here, but for the past like 6 weeks, I've had just straight artists on here, recording artists from Louisville. So you're rounding it out, man. It's super dope, bro.
That is dope. I'm
I
so glad to be on here and be a part of this. This is really amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you reaching out to me, man, and trying to get on here because you're
That's
opening we were talking about earlier, just kind of opening my mind. You talking about you being in the studio and the whole confidence thing, and taking a step back and realizing, you just got to keep moving forward, all those things, and not losing your art and your
Yes.
financial. That was big for me. I never really heard it like that. The sacrifices
Yeah.
you have to make in order to not lose your art. That's big.
Yeah, and if you've done that a lot of times and you're in attendance trouble, you have to decide, am I gonna lose my job or find another one over this? Like, and I'm used to this flow of money, or am I gonna go over here? So
Yeah,
it's a lie, and people don't realize it's a lie. And
it is a lot.
one more thing, I just think
Yeah,
that
go
my
ahead.
confidence kind of stemmed from me like being in school and just kind of hearing like all the negative things that people were saying about local artists, like
Yeah,
like, oh, he's a SoundCloud rapper, and you know I would just be like, what? And then I would kind of laugh at some of the things they would say, but then when I kind of like took a step back and I was like, like that is kind of lame. And then when I wanted to get on the music scene, I was just like, it's not even like that. It's not even like what they were saying. And that's kind of why I was hesitant, because I was like, am I going to be like one of these SoundCloud rappers that everybody was talking about? Or,
nah,
you
nah.
know?
Yeah,
So it's a different, I'm definitely glad. I'm glad that I really took um, the initiative to do it, because it's just
yes,
a
sir.
really great scene filled with
Yes,
so many
sir.
great and talented people. And I just wish that people from like there are a lot of people that do support local talent, but I just wish that everyone like was kind of more open minded about it.
Yeah, it definitely. That's another thing with the Louisville creative scene and the entertainment business, or more from the music business perspective. A lot of people here nickel and diamond each other, man, and just like,
I
like
know.
not. I wouldn't even say people trying to hold each other back, but like it's just there's a me and also Russ Guapo talked about this. There's more. He said there's more. There's definitely more hate here than there is love, and I could totally see that. I could understand that.
Hmm.
Um, but again, that's one of the things that I'm trying to shed light on people and bring y'all together and get your connections, and and same thing with like people like John Woo with those panels. Like he even said, he was like, you got to stop nickel. We have to stop nickel and diming each other, and there's got to be
Yeah,
more.
because none of us are rich, and
Yeah,
I mean, we all do deserve to have our money. Like I
yeah,
said, it teaches you to be respectful and appreciate a lot of things. Like what was I gonna add to that? I was gonna say that, being an R&B artist, it is a lot. Like you can ask. I mean, ATM have talked about it. Like speaking just for solely for myself and him, from what he said, it's just been harder as R&B artists to come, like not really come up, but to like
yeah,
gain any like type of momentum as much as like your rappers and stuff, because everyone loves like that. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to listen to that sad. And
right.
it's been kind of more difficult here, because I noticed that a lot of the rappers do get a lot of the attention, and that's I'm not saying that they don't deserve that at all. They deserve everything that they've put all their hard work into. And yeah, just yeah, connecting to what you said, it teaches you to be humble. Because like seeing how David works, like my Pro Tools on my computer, I don't have any type of plugins or anything, so I just record like dry vocals, and I'll just send the project to David Lee, and he'll add everything to it.
Yeah,
So it taught me to like respect, like, okay, like he needs his money.
definitely.
But still, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, man.
We can't keep nickel and diming each other.
Yeah, bro.
Cause, or
That's
me and Eli, we wouldn't have had to have the connection and been able to work how we have these past few months. Like that same beat I sent you, Too Sensual, that's
hmm
gonna be on my project.
yeah,
That beat was made by Eli. And the one I played yesterday, I'll let you hear a little bit of, that was made by Eli. So if he was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to charge you $1,000 or 500, we would have never been able to work. But he's been really humble, and he's all for it.
yeah, man. Well, sweet. That's amazing, bro. You got an amazing story, dude. Keep it up. And let us know about this upcoming project. You're doing. That's pretty soon, man. We're coming up on August, but you trying to shoot
Yeah,
for October. That's soon, good man.
it's very soon. I can't wait to share it with everyone. Um,
Absolutely. So
and
so everybody, you all can follow Mister. He goes by Mister at Mister Music. Where's my mouse? There we go. at Mr. Music Official on Instagram for all his updates and stuff with his upcoming project. And, Mister, I really, again, appreciate, you opening my mind and coming on here, telling your story, giving some advice and, being comfortable talking about the life as an independent artist and your confidence and things like that. Cause those are key, man. That's what is going to open people's mind.
Yep.
I appreciate that, bro. You got a big future ahead of you, bro. You got a great voice too, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Seriously, absolutely, man. You got a great voice. Do you you have any last words for us, man?
Last words I'm gonna have to say, if you are watching and you are a family, friend, or supporter of mine, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys for sticking with me. And if you are just like a independent artist and you're looking to take your career to the next level, or you're just lost, just remember to just retract, think about
Yes.
what you wanted when you first started, and don't get too caught up into like the aesthetic of things, and because you can always work on that as you go, and just be yourself. Just be yourself, and don't be afraid to ask and make connections with people, and that's the only way to win.
Facts, man. That's amazing. You just said it all. You wrapped it up right there. Said everything you need to say in that, man. That's that. If you're feeling lost, keep moving forward and keep doing your thing, bro. Man, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, all right,
No
Mister.
problem.
I appreciate you coming on here and reaching out to me to do this. You're my last artist for season 1. It's been a great show, great episode, and I'm grateful to hear your story, man.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Appreciate you taking the time to do it. And, keep in touch. After season 1 is over, I'm going to reach out to everybody that was on season 1 and see how they're doing, what's been going on, what's happening. And then I'm going to do some kind of like recap video. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch I don't know. I'm still thinking of what I'm going to do, but it'll be something cool. And, so I'm going to do that, and just keep in touch, man. I really appreciate it. And be safe. Wear a mask in public.
Thank you so much for having me on here.
Absolutely, man. I'll be in touch, bro.
All right. Thanks.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. Be safe.
I appreciate you too. Bye.
All right. More of some T Lanky here. All right, well, definitely a good quality show, man. I really had not had any contact or didn't really know anything about him until today, man. That and his story really kind of surprised me, his ups and his downs, but again, I didn't know anything about him, so that's really cool. Just again, the goal is to bring people onto this podcast like him, and they share their stories, and then more people can connect with them and reach out to them. And I think it's cool that I'm being able to like tie in other episodes, like I was talking about last week's episode with DJ Kelly and with Russ Guapo. Things like that I think are cool because I'm able to relate to what they were saying to what the current guest says. So that's really dope. But well, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in. We've got one more producer here, my guy from last week, Bailey Hutton. He's got a song here titled Trying. We're going to play it out, let y'all listen to it. Kind of a nice Lush vibe for a Lush Louisville podcast. He calls this Trying. Let's see. Yes, sir.
Shouts out to Cameron. Shouts out to Cameron. I'm looking for my place and time. I'm trying to find some time in the night to find some space in the room to bring the vision to life and express what I've been thinking and capture what that shit like. Having trouble translating my thoughts to words on the mic. Shit been cloudy in my head. Need to detox my mind. Crack the window, sage burn and seen the demon fly outside. But why I'm still feeling bad vibes? In the last 3 months you seen me quit about 3 trash jobs. Too much respect for myself for me to waste all my time. I said I miss all my friends, but that's a 4-hour drive and I got problems to solve. You best believe I've been trying to make a living from from this motherfucking music or die. I got that merch on the line, I got that work on the way. I got so much in the vault, but you should see where I stay. I got so much on my mind, I got too much on my plate. But I make it happen despite what you might hear some say. On the road to better days, and that street's one way.
Hey.
That street's one way. On the road to better days, and that street's one way. Hello, good morning, good evening. I swear you can't fight the fate.
If you're a producer, send me beats. I'll play them. Just put your pictures up here, your Instagrams. Trevor's Instagram is t.lanky, and Bailey Hutton's is at real Bailey Hutton. So check them out. This is a longer version, so it kind of fades. This beat's fire. This is another one of Trevor's, T. Lanky's. It's called Let's Get It. Uh-oh. He got a little pump on this.
T. Lanky.
Okay. Go ahead, Trevor. Go ahead.
T. Lanky.
All right, guys. That is it for Lush Louisville episode 9. It has been a pleasure. I'll be back next Saturday. I've got my last guest, episode 10 of season 1. We'll get things kicking off with season 2 here soon. It has been a blast this first season. Time's been flying. I appreciate everybody tuning in. And, Lush Louisville, we are out.
Yes,
Everybody be safe. Have a good week. Let me know what's going on. Keep in touch. Again, if you're a producer, reach out to me. I'll play your beats. And everybody stay safe. Lush Louisville, we're out.